Hi everyone, Mrs. Streck here. I am one of the teachers in the Neenah Joint School District, and math is my passion. So I'm here today to talk to you about a game called Addition War. And there's a few different ways that you could play this. There are ways that you can make it more challenging, or you can scaffold it to make it a little more simple. You're going to have to determine what works best for you and your family at this time. You might notice that you start out, it's too difficult, you scale back, and after a few rounds, it feels easier for you, and you can try to remove some of the scaffolds that you put in. I brought a dice along for an additional challenge. If you feel like you want that, great. If you don't have a dice in your home or in one of the board games in your home, you could download an app for it. Otherwise, the dice isn't necessary. So the way that war has always been played is it's quick, and there's a bit of a competition. So you could take the first two cards and you would add them together. 7 plus 6. The first person to say the answer is 13 would get both cards. Now, you know your child better than I do at this point. And so if you know that that is going to create some anxious feelings and it's going to be too difficult, that the speed in which your child can answer the question is going to prevent them from really thinking deeply about the math and using a strategy, then I would suggest not solving the problems this way. Don't each pick a card and have to beat each other to the answer. Instead, my recommendation would be for each of you to flip cards and solve the problems on your own. Now, I do recommend trying to do this without needing to use paper and pencil, because I don't want your child to fall to a standard algorithm. I'm sure you and I remember we would stack the 10 and the 4. We would add the four ones to 0 ones and say that it's 14. But your child has been learning ways in a conceptual way to be able to solve these problems. And so I would prefer for them to look at, okay, if I have 10 and 4 more, that's 14, not splitting them up by place value. Not yet. They'll get there. But right now, we just want to look at them as two numbers and how they go together. 6 and 4 make a partner of 10. Your child might say something like, that's a quick 10, or they have a fast way to get to this. So 10 or 14, 14 wins. So having 14, you get the cards. And now it's my turn. Your turn. Right. Okay. So I might see 10 and 2 more. I know that that's 12 and you got a 10, right? If as we're playing this, we can then throw in the element of a dice. So if we're going to split it like this, okay, you have 10 and 2 more and I had 10, I'm going to have 10 take away 6. So now I have 4. You had 12, take away 6. 12 take away 6 is 6. So it adds in that element. It's actually algebraic, right? Because we just put two numbers together and subtracted. And you could even show your child, like, you just solved 2 plus 10, take away 6, and you figured out that that answer was 6. Wow. I figured out that 1 plus 9, take away 6 was 4. These are difficult math problems. Talking through them, watching them solve them, and then representing their thinking that they did on paper is a really successful strategy in building their confidence as mathematicians, because this problem, just looking at it, looks really difficult to solve. And you could show your child that they were able to do that. If you are still sticking with the competitive version and you are saying, all right, 3 plus 6 is 9. Well, as soon as someone gets it, as soon as you know what it is, you would roll the dice and do that subtraction quickly. So now we have 9 take away 4, quick as can be. And so the way to win would be to say 5, right? So you see 3 and 6 and a 4, and you would say the answer is 5. You really have to have some concept of the game to be able to play it that way. However, if you know that your child is competitive and this is what's going to keep them playing, go ahead and choose the competitive role. What I don't want you to lose out on is the mathematical thinking that comes into knowing that 6 and 4 more would make 10. So 6 and 3 more must make 9. Those things are important. And those are the strategies that are building conceptual understanding in your child, which are going to make them mathematicians who can solve problems so much more difficult than problems based around the number 10. But by building this foundation, they're going to be successful in the future. So I hope that with the deck of cards, you and your child can have really neat conversations around numbers and how they work. If you have questions about ways to build upon addition or subtraction or ways to build algebraic equations in a way that keeps your child successful, reach out. I'd be happy to have a conversation with you about that. And I'm excited to see how you and your child grow this year in math.